Shalom, this is Rabbi Blake. This week's reading is the beginning of the book of Leviticus. We're starting a new book of the Torah, a new portion, and the portion is called Vayikra, which is the name for the whole book of Leviticus in our tradition. It is, for many people, a very intimidating book. It begins on the subject of animal sacrifice, and so this first portion is filled with blood and guts and livers and kidneys, and it's material that seems hopelessly antiquated and removed from us culturally, religiously, geographically. At the same time, our tradition teaches that you have to find ways into the text even when the text isn't finding an easy way into you. And so metaphor and making meaning in between the lines is part of our sacred tradition of reading as well. And so if you look a little bit more deeply, you'll notice that the main theme of this week's portion is sacrifice. In Hebrew, the word for sacrifice is korban. It's a word that literally means to draw near. And this is probably because the ancients believed that through the act of sacrificing an animal or something precious to that person, they could draw nearer to their deity. In our world, sacrifice is also a way that we can draw nearer to our aspirations and perhaps to our higher selves. Nothing great in this life is accomplished without sacrifice. I'm reminded of the anecdote of the great 20th century violinist Isaac Stern. It is told that he was approached by a young student after a masterful recital at Carnegie Hall one day, and the girl came up to him and said, "Oh, Maestro Stern, I would give anything to play as well as you do." And he looked at her and said, "Would you give 12 hours a day?" I think that it bespeaks the truism that in this life, anything that is worth achieving must, by necessity, require that we put our whole selves into it, just like the last step of the hokey pokey dance. You got to put your whole self in. You've got to make those sacrifices, whether it's of time or of energy, of resources, to become the person you want to be. And whether you practice this in a mind and body discipline like yoga, or you practice it in your work or in your other pursuits, whether it is learning to play a musical instrument, hoping to improve your innermost character, without sacrifice, there's no way forward. I hope you have a wonderful weekend of reflection and rest and get to enjoy this gorgeous spring weather. Shabbat Shalom.